Hey, I'm here. Just sick. It looks like the city of Monroe is muted.
Thank you. Yes, we'll be ready to start
that
here in
yours
just a
too?
moment. Thank you, Councilor Linder.
Okay.
Everybody here? I'm gonna go ahead and bring our city council work session to order. It's November 10th, 2025. Let's go ahead and do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, let's do roll call real quick here. Councilor Wright.
Present.
Councilor Lindner.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Councilor Cuthbertson.
Here.
Councilor Myers.
Physically here.
That's good. Councilor Evans.
Yeah.
They're all accounted for. Right. So right off the bat here, we've got City Hall Structural Engineering Report. I think we have that in the packet, and it's a presentation as well. Is that correct?
That is correct. I'm going to go ahead and queue up the letter.
Okay.
And then we also have Rick Hernandez here from Branch Engineering. Rick was with us just a few weeks ago doing an in-person assessment of the building. And following that, we received a letter that we discussed at the last meeting. Rick is here this evening to provide you with essentially the overview in layman's terms of what it is you're looking at and trying to understand in this letter. And he's here to answer some questions that you may have. Largely, I believe our last discussion focused on what is the cost and benefit of doing something, some sort of interim measure on the existing building now, knowing that we think our next steps are going to be to develop some sort of capital campaign to build a new city within the next couple of years, new city hall, not a whole city. Rick, we'll have you come on up if you'd like to the podium. I'll turn on this microphone for you so folks can hear you online.
Yep. Yes.
So just briefly, maybe summarizing what I had in the letter there, so you understand kind of the perspective, the spectrum of risk of this city hall building and maybe some others in the town as well. So this would be, I would say, the second most risky type of building. The only riskier type would be a multi-story, unreinforced masonry building, which, the taller you get, the more risky they are. So single story, you've got that going for you, but of all the single story buildings in town, this would be the most risky type of building, just because of the type of construction it is, which is very brittle and very apt to fail suddenly and catastrophically and without much warning. So anyway, that's the background of just what you're dealing with because of the type of construction that building is. And there are some things we can do to help ourselves structurally a little bit, though it's never gonna be a case that you're gonna be as good as, say, a brand new building that's been built to current code standards. But certainly we reduce the risk of that occupants or walking into the building.
I have a question. So even if we did any kind of reinforcements to the existing building, we'd still eventually have to replace it, I would assume. Is that correct?
You might never have to replace it if you put a lot of money into it. And because there's no requirement in the code that you must meet the standards of the current code.
Okay,
So if it was built legally at the time it was built, which we assume it is, then you're grandfathered in and you can just continue to occupy it. And any risk that you want to mitigate is voluntary, I'd say.
so the retrofitting doesn't lose our grandfathering? Essentially.
No, code lets us retrofit and just kind of do as much as you want, and then.
Okay, thank you.
In your professional opinion, is it more cost effective to do upgrading, fitting to the existing building, or to tear it down and and build a new one?
That's a good question, and it really depends on a couple things. You know, if you loved the floor plan of the building and the location and stuff like that, I think it would be cheaper probably to retrofit it and get some, also significant improvement in the structural performance of it and the safety of it. But if those things weren't true, you didn't like the floor plan and height just wasn't useful in that application, then there's other good reasons to tear it down and build some rooms. But building a new building is gonna be expensive. We were able to combine several occupancies in that building, maybe break even or something.
Any idea how much it would cost to reinforce it? You can't give anything exact.
Maybe a couple $100,000 versus $500,000 to build a new building or something. So it could be a significant difference. For the cheaper price, you're getting the same building you've got now.
Right.
So, hold on a second.
And we still haven't looked, we still haven't looked up in the ceiling yet,
That's right, yes.
so we don't know what's going on up there yet,
That's
so.
right. Yeah, that would be another thing we should do before we really make any conclusions. Let's look at that roof frame. Though I'd be very surprised if that was a straw broke camel's back like that as far as safety. I think that it's less likely the roof frame is going to be a size issue.
As I understand, roof was put on top of the roof, more of a aesthetic appealing type of thing, not more of a useful thing.
Ceilings, the double ceilings.
Yeah, I think probably that was done because the old roof leaked or something and they got tired of repairing it. And let's just put a pitch roof on there because that's the smart thing to do.
Yeah.
And so it looks to me like that was originally flat roof. So that's really based on, the only thing I can see is from the underside, that old original flat roof. It's just a guess.
Yeah, flat roofs are horrible maintenance issues in Oregon.
I have no idea how long that was done. At some point they decided to stop by the leaks.
Thank you.
And so it's my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, that even if we do all the retrofit stuff and whatnot to the building that we have, that still doesn't make it up to safety code for what we could have if we had something new. It's just giving us a little bit more peace of mind, but it's not fixing it, correct?
That is probably true. I think it'd probably be, say, unreasonable or unpractical to retrofit it all the way to today's current code. And one reason it would be because the foundation is part of the code for holding up the building in an earthquake. It's gonna be impossible, probably, that's the wrong word, highly,
Unlikely.
cheaply, put rebar to your foundation down. I mean, you can spend a bunch of money and, maybe have build piles installed around the rest of the building, that would be, get you 90% of the way to having a current code compliant foundation. Still wouldn't be able to.
I think I'd be more apt to look at, we keep talking about codes and risks and stuff, is what would we be looking at to take it? Obviously, we're going to make it safer, but you're never going to make it perfect to the code, standard codes. But I guess the key thing is to make it safer and safe enough to be occupied.
That is a judgment call. How safe you want to be, I think, again, is going to be tough to quantify. For perspective here, you know, that we're talking about as far as current code requirements, the current building might be only 10% of the way there. You get it maybe 80 or something percent of the way there by some reasonable retrofits. But you might do all that work, you might even get it to 99% of the way there, and the big earthquake hits the day after, and the building's flat anyway. And the reason for that is, you know, you can't reasonably design buildings for the cascades effects of the type of.
Exactly.
So your best might be wasted effort. There's gonna be a lot of other issues to think about.
So with a new building built to code, it still wouldn't necessarily stand up to the cascaded zone.
That's correct.
I just don't want an illusion that there's 100% perfect building.
I don't think there's any such thing.
No.
Yeah, it would be unreasonable to code require buildings to be built to standard. So we do something less than that. And there's been little earthquakes that this building has withstood. You know, July 4/15, so 4 points over here in Walterville, I believe, and then,
Yeah.
2019, there's another 4 point something farther north of that. So maybe that dealt with that a little bit. It's withstood that, but it hasn't experienced that I know of, you know, 5 or 6 or something like that. It kind of falls readably.
Yeah.
It's felt very much here.
We felt it over in Halsey. Yeah, the Pope and Talbot building, or Cascade Pulp now, is a tip up, which it's a bunch of slabs that are connected together. So it's earthquake compliant, and it shakes like a house of cards, basically, but it stays up. But yeah, you can see it moving.
It's a little warming, but it's
Yeah. I went to the roof because it's 40 feet tall. There's no way I was going to get to the ground floor now. So
Yeah. Anyway, I guess the point is that we're never gonna get it all the way to withstand anything. We can get it part way to withstand current code magnitude. How much you want to do is what you have.
I think that Clement Falls quake actually cracked this building too.
So,
Yeah, in the corner over here.
I've got a quick question, for myself, but I think may also help council in your decision making as well. Is this safe to say that if you're looking at the exact same event and you have a fully retrofitted city hall and you also have a newly built structure, that the retrofitted city hall is going to be more susceptible to complete failure before the new building? Is that a true is that a true assumption? And what, what scale of earthquake are newer buildings designed to withstand, so we can better understand what we're comparing to?
I would say certainly we should expect a new identical building to perform better in an identical earthquake than the City Hall. Because it's gonna be, the things we're gonna retrofit on the City Hall are going to protect the occupants, but not necessarily keep the building up for more than 2 seconds or something like that. That's not going to get out without a wall falling on top. A new building would potentially still stand in most earthquakes. So the question about the magnitude is, again, a little bit difficult to quantify because the code doesn't say designed for a 7.5 magnitude. Because the Richter scale is a little and not useful in the sense that it's just an expression of the total energy that the earthquake generates over however long that is. So you can get sharp jolts that
Yes,
are
you can.
really damaging to a building. But it
There are
might be
different
a little
types.
Mhm.
And for counting for the stiffness of the ground, how much the ground is shaking is going to affect how much the building is shaking. Kind of energy part of it. So what the code does is asks us to design the building for essentially an equivalent static load that's equal to some percentage of the weight of the building. And heavier buildings then are more susceptible just as they're heavier. They're designed for the weight of the building. If I were to put it in Richter scale magnitudes, I'd say probably current code is somewhere in the 7s or something like that. City Hall currently, I guess, couldn't stand up for something on that. But surprised you didn't have more damage in even 5. Lots of other variables that could affect it.
So if I'm understanding you, in both scenarios, we're protecting the safety of the occupants. In the latter scenario, the new city hall, we're also potentially protecting the value of the dollars that we put into that asset.
You're getting that as an added bonus benefit, but the code doesn't.
Doesn't guarantee you're just gonna
doesn't
stay
speak
there.
to
Yeah,
maintaining the-
understood.
The intact piece of the-
If it's a 10.0 or whatever, it's all coming down anyway. I got you.
Yeah, the code is written with the intent of getting the occupants out. You've got a building that's standing at the end of the grade.
It's at 10.0, you got a whole lot more problems. in
Oh
that.
yeah, none of us are going anywhere for a long time. I don't know if that assisted counselors as you are thinking of your own questions, or if you wanted to ask further questions of Rick.
I would just say the material of the building as well. I mean, it's not very likely that we're going to build another brick building, but if I was in a building that was coming down, I would rather have it be stick built than brick.
I was gonna say the exact same thing as Councilor Cuthbertson. Generally, non-brick buildings do much better than brick buildings. Brick buildings they're just gonna flatten out. No one's really gonna survive that.
Especially if it's the terracotta bricks, if I'm understanding.
Yeah,
right.
that's,
Mhm.
there, you've got the terracotta block, and you've got a brick veneer.
Right.
In front of it.
Mhm.
Even the brick veneer is a liability just because of one brick can use.
No, you don't know if it was anchored properly to the original wall either, so if you just,
And it's hard to throw good money after bad, you know what I'm saying? And so that too can be a issue. It's like, I mean, I understand that it's more expensive, of course, to have to do something new, but you know, there's
sounds like-
also the thing of if you do on the old and you're still gonna want, I mean, we haven't been super pleased with the building anyway and different things in the building, but
Well, it sounds like the rebuild is about 40% of what the new would be.
Mhm.
And having bought a lot of rebuilt stuff, when you're at 40%, you're really close to the trigger of saying, go new.
yeah,
Because what you get back at the 40% doesn't quite
it doesn't
justify,
translate out.
that expense versus going extra and getting new.
We also have to think about, and this is a discussion for another time,
Right.
but we have to think about insurance costs
Mhm.
and some of the other financial
Mhm.
levers.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to hide a retrofit on a building to the insurance carriers. They're gonna
What's the cost for the roof
take advantage of
inspection?
it,
But we'll get better rates, right, for a better quality,
maybe.
we think.
When building a new building, using steel instead of 2x4s is it better?
I mean, there are
Or-
options for
and what are
builds,
the
right? Like
cost
manufactured versus a
differences
stick build
roughly?
versus.
I think around here, just because we have plentiful wood's basically the cheapest option usually. The things that would force you to do a steel building or some other non-combustible building would be the fire code. If you had a really large building, fire code says we got at least part of it out of non-combustible materials, so they need to steel. There's other reasons to use steel too, but I think we'll get an earthquake just as good performance out of wood construction as with steel. With the goal being meeting current code.
What about the
No.
building with holding up in a major earthquake?
So I'd say possibly you get better performance out of steel structure. Quite a bit more expensive.
Right.
Steel panels. that type of thing.
I was just talking about like the structure, the
Oh,
2x4
metal.
type metals.
Yeah, metal buildings might be cheaper. They're great for warehouses and storage, that type of thing. A little harder if you want to really finish out the whole inside of it, but people do that. At the church.
Well, I wasn't talking about the outside. You know that, right? I'm just
Talking about the beams, the
framework,
The
the
framing.
framework.
Yes, frame the foundation.
Okay, the framework of steel, yeah, pound for pound, steel's better than wood. So I don't think that, I would say, I guess it's possible to build a stronger steel building than wood. More expensive because you're gonna overbuild steel, because you can get giant steel beams, columns, and put them together with giant welds, and that's possible, whereas with wood, you're limited probably to certain sizes that are probably 24 by 40, and you probably wouldn't could get that size of steel.
I was just wondering, does one stand up better in an earthquake over another? Whether you use the same size as a wooden frame?
Know that I'd say that there's one that's gonna be definitely advantageous over another same size of a physical, if you had an 8x10 beam, your steel's gonna be much stronger than wood, so if you're constrained by size, then straight good steel. What we do today, we just build the steel frames that are farther apart. We couldn't build a metal building in the style that we usually do with wood. That's what we steel. Not really driven by as much desire to improve performance of the style.
The budget would speak also on
Budget speed,
something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, that's right. The reason for steel buildings, mostly you see is just wide spans, open spaces. Yeah. Square garages and stuff.
The CPA firm I used to work at used all steel for the inside.
Yeah, there's gonna be options for steel frames that are usually 20 or 25 feet on center. We have a big, full wall roof type frame. You can also use steel framing, like steel studs that are more the size of a 2 or 4 to 6. And that's where I was talking earlier about what you do when you have to, you're forced by fire to go to non-combustible construction.
Okay.
Steel studs, and that's, I'd say, very comparable to the performance of wood. In that case, whichever is cheaper.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Counselor Lindner, did you have any questions?
I'm sure not more questions. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Unless you have,
The only thing I might ask is that we did have to ramjack before. We discussed that when you were around the site. How would you mitigate something like that. Let's say we decided to think very clearly about a retrofit option. Is there any way to fully mitigate that risk without seeing it?
You're talking about the ramjet, heel tiles that are.
Yeah, the corner, I know that we've done some patchworks to the to the foundation here and there, and I just don't know if you put any renovation costs into that building, how do those come into play? How can we be certain about those?
So those were installed, just for a little bit background there, those were installed only to correct the settlement that had happened. You had big cracks going up the side of the wall. So that was protecting that with probably very little thought toward earthquake improvement, though they can be used for earthquake improvement. And if you want to use them for earthquake improvement, you probably have to put them all around the full perimeter of the building. That'd be a lot of money because they're $3,000 each or something to install. But as far as documenting what's there, Ramjack installed them should have all the documentation. There should have a permit for us, so the city or the county has records of that as well. And they're guaranteed for life.
Mhm.
So is that a problem with them?
Is that because there's no stem wall, essentially no 2-foot wall going down below around the perimeter?
The settlement probably happened as the foundation was maybe undersized and the subgrade probably wasn't adequately prepared.
Got it.
Is that on a slab?
Yeah, we're on slab, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
If you're on a slab, I mean, they might have put some sort of footing, like a monolithic around the edges,
Maybe.
but
1940.
don't know. They might have
We
just
hope
made a
that
thick,
they'll-
they just might have did a slab.
It's probably unreinforced and thickened edge. You know, that means slabs usually 4 inches thick, but when you get to the perimeter of it, they'll thicken it to 12 inches thick.
Mhm.
So that's certainly better than nothing, but it's not good. So that's what they.
This leads me to my final question. You had mentioned that there's an assessment that you can perform at a cost of around $25,000, and that is truly an in-depth, granular, unit-by-unit assessment of what's going on within that structure. Would that need to be completed before you could really speak to how much you can retrofit that building and what cost it would take?
It doesn't have to be, no. So that's again, a voluntary assessment that you might choose to do. And it really is a separate, not a mandatory code, but it's codified in the code book so that there's a procedure to follow so that we all are doing the same thing when we do this assessment. And yes, it's pretty thorough, pretty involved, and it will steer us toward the elements that are going to be most susceptible to failing an earthquake. But I think that it's going to be pretty obvious what the answer is when you do all that. It's going to be those clay masonry walls and
Yep.
connections of those.
Okay.
So I would say this is really want to quantify, just fix it without going through the process.
Good.
Great. All right. One last call. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you coming out here tonight and talking with us.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Thank you. Work on our OWRD letter, possible grant reduction due to state budget constraints. Draft version of the letter in the packet. Chat about that.
Thank you, Mayor Sheets. I received an email a little over a week ago from the Oregon Water Resources Department. They gave us less than 24 hours to provide a 3-sentence response that they would then pass along to the Legislative Fiscal Office. The email in summary said that we received $1.5 million in this budget allocation coming up, but because the funds have not been transferred yet, and because the state has the need to reduce all of their budgets across the board by 5%, some more, some less, but 5% across the board. They're looking at our project as well as all of the other projects out there that received money for a potential cut. Rather than a 5% cut, the Oregon Water Resources Department is looking at a $300,000 cut, which is 20%. of the funds that we receive. They did not tell us why. They looked at our project and thought about removing more than 5%. But I don't think it requires a lot of imagination to understand it. We had been allocated this in the last biennium, and we never responded. We being the administration, the city administrator, had multiple emails sent to him. He never responded. The funds then went away for that biennium. And through the grace of God and some luck, Mayor Sheets was able to resurrect that. And I spent 2 weeks putting together a full packet of everything that we'd be doing. Shortly after that, we received this notice. So they're essentially saying, probably in my mind, is they didn't need it last time around. They didn't use it last time around. Do they really actually need this funding right now? We sent the 3-sentence response immediately as requested. Mayor Sheets communicated with, of course, Representative Gomberg's office. And then what we did is we drafted this letter and brought it to the Planning Commission last week. They have voted to approve this letter pending City Council's direction to do so. So you know that that the Planning Commission has already reviewed this letter, fully supports it, and awaits your decision. If you decide to sign this letter and send it along to the Legislative Fiscal Office, it will include the signatures of the full Planning Commission as well as the full City Council. And we pre-gamed a little bit and got their approval before this one, so we can send it off immediately following the City Council meeting on the 24th, which is why this letter is dated the 24th. For the benefit of the public, I will briefly read the letter, and so that way we can know exactly what we're saying. Dear members of the Legislative Fiscal Office, the City of Monroe respectfully urges your consideration in maintaining full funding for our water pre-filter and automated controls infrastructure project, which received $1.5 million direct legislative appropriation in the 2025 session. This project is critical to ensuring that Monroe's residents have access to safe and compliant drinking water. The planned upgrades address recommendations from the Oregon Health Authority related to organic concentrations in our source water and replace aging manual and computer control systems that are now obsolete. The city acknowledges that the initial legislative appropriation from the prior biennium was not utilized as quickly as anticipated due to leadership transitions and limited administrative capacity at that time. Since then, Monroe has appointed a new city administrator, strengthened internal financial and project management systems, and invested in staff training to improve overall competency and accountability. The city has also begun collaborating with the city of Harrisburg to expand operational support and ensure project success. These efforts have positioned Monroe to deliver this project efficiently and responsibly once funds are released. A reduction of $300,000, representing roughly 20% of the total appropriation, would prevent the city from completing key treatment system components and automation upgrades, leaving the project partially constructed and the community's water system at continued risk of noncompliance and operational failure. Monroe is a small but growing community with limited local resources and no viable alternative source to absorb such a reduction. The legislator's investment represents a lifeline for our community's infrastructure and public health. We deeply value the state's partnership and the legislature's continued commitment to supporting small rural communities that depend on this funding to meet essential health and safety standards. On behalf of the residents of Monroe, we thank you for your past support and respectfully request that this critical project remain fully funded. Sincerely, and then of course the signature blocks from both bodies. Comments?
I have also reached out to the Benton County Commissioners, and they are willing to also, they'll probably do a similar letter is my guess, and they're in the process of, they have to review it, and they have to ratify it, and the attorney has to get involved, and but they're all willing to sign it. They're willing to support us. So that's in the works as well.
Sorry, is that Benton County Commissioners?
Correct.
I think it's a very well written letter.
Yes.
As do I.
You're covering everything.
I'm just wondering if we need to speak a little more to the size of our community. Because I know small, a lot of people say they're small, but they've got like 12,000 people.
No, he has actually in parentheses after
Did you
Monroe
put it in there?
small population,
Okay.
less than 800.
Good, I can't see, so,
No,
okay,
you're
perfect.
actually Absolutely correct. This
Good.
version is the version that the Planning Commission reviewed. What's in your packet has 2 additions.
Okay,
The under 800 as well as a focus on housing.
okay. And then the other thing is, even if we get this fully funded, it's still not enough funds, right? To do what we need to do,
This, what they funded us to do,
Mhm.
this funding is enough to complete that.
that
work.
part.
It
Okay,
is
good. I just
specific.
want to make sure.
It's not gonna
Because we've
cover
had,
everything.
right, but we've had situations in the past where we were kind of counting on something else
Right.
and then it didn't come through. And
Right.
so I just want to be
These are just
clear
2 or
that,
3 things that we need to.
So in order here, yes, this is really $1.5 million to complete a significantly larger amount of work. But
okay,
this has been needed to be done for several years, and
Right.
it will remove those water notices that we've been having and reduce the amount of work that Mark has to do, plus our budget in terms of the parts and materials that we
Right.
need to keep throwing at this. What was your question, Counselor Evans?
This is enough to do what?
This is enough to do the things that we said that we would do. So improve the treatment system itself, improve the electronic components as well as the computer system. $1.5 million doesn't get you a whole new plant, right? But it will get us those pieces that we're doing here. Keep in mind, we're talking about the 1135 project in a little while. Another piece of it, right, would be the intake. We get that out of that. You really want to break it up into little bits and start to
Right.
attach funds to that, which is what we're beginning to do now.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, Counselor Evans.
To chunk it up, basically.
Other questions? What I'm looking for here is direction to put this on the city council meeting agenda for 2 weeks from now for council to take an action.
I think that's a good idea.
That's what the intent of tonight is. So if you wanted me to add anything else to the letter, now's your opportunity to do it, to ask questions or have any concerns. I think if we're ready to go, I can simply draft this up for final review.
You're gonna add your 2 edits that you mentioned.
They're already there. I've already made those edits.
I mean, besides what we're seeing.
Yeah, it's in your packet, the one that's in your.
I didn't grab my packet.
Got it. Oh, you were one of the ones. Here you go.
Packet I picked up and.
How many packets do you
Yeah,
have?
because I don't, sometimes,
I printed mine out by card.
I got one.
Okay.
I'm sorry, she's the one that got it. She's the one that didn't pick up hers.
Yeah.
Sorry.
thank
sir.
you.
I forgot I got to give it to somebody.
Oh, I printed mine out. Thank you, though.
Okay, so how do we feel about moving this to the city council meeting? Approve it. and
Let's
then
get her
sign it?
done.
I agree. I'll second, whatever.
Counselor Lindner?
Yep, just agreeing.
Okay, perfect. Okay, that is what we'll do.
Good, thank you. We wanted to be very proactive about this and get your buy-in before it comes to the city council, so I appreciate your time.
Okay. Well, we've got the 1135 dam project update, a presentation on that as well.
Thank you. I'm going to get my screen ready here, share my screen. So as you know, this is one of those marathons, right? This project has taken several years to get to where it is, and it will take some years more to complete. The intent of tonight's presentation is to let you know about a big update that the Army Corps of Engineers has now gotten to their design phase. And so they have proposed 3 design options. And those design options are really presented to multiple stakeholders for review. The first and foremost would be the property owner themselves. The Nystroms have the direct control over what ultimately happens with the fish ladder and with the property that they own, which extends out into the river. But also the non-federal sponsor, the city of Monroe, also is a stakeholder that needs to be aware of what the options are and weigh in on what their preferred option would be. And this has to do with what kind of river we want, what we want it to look like, what the operations and maintenance could potentially be under different scenarios. So the intent tonight is to show you the 3 scenarios, give you an opportunity to think these over. Each one of you has in front of you a 3-sheet piece of paper that includes each one of the categories, each one of those options. And in the 4th category, what I encourage you to do is either tonight or for the next several weeks or months, write your comments or questions or concerns that you have next to that line item for one or more of the options available. We will be talking about this again. We'll be bringing this back regularly for you. Tonight is not a decision night. It's also not a night to really get into the weeds, but I want to make sure I'm gathering your comments and concerns and questions and bringing those to the Army Corps of Engineers, as well as to our internal meetings that we're having with Long Tom on a regular basis. All right, so I'll go ahead and get started here. Again, a quick overview. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, in partnership with the City of Monroe and the Long Tom Watershed Council, is evaluating 3 design alternatives for the Monroe drop structure under the Section 1135 Environmental Restoration Program. Each option varies in cost. It varies in complexity, as well as ecological benefit and timeline. We'll start with option 1. And again, you have your cheat sheet in front of you that you can reference. So this is really giving you a snapshot of just a few bullet points. You have much more detail there in front of you. Option 1 is full removal, where we just get rid of absolutely everything, right? That's the drop structure, as well as the fish ladder and all of the other components that are there, as well as the mill race. It regrades the slope. You restore the natural environment and river flow and habitat. In terms of natural restoration and the most pristine look of the river, this is the option that'll give you that in the greatest amount. It's also the lowest cost because you're completely pulling it out and ripping it out without significant engineering efforts attached to that. And it also has the least amount of maintenance in terms of operations and maintenance for the City of Monroe. Over the long term, whatever changes to the river happen are things that the City of Monroe would need to address. And so if you leave a structure in place, things can happen with the movement of water and the hydrology. If you simply rip it out, it's going to be much more natural flowing. The cost associated for option 1 is around $100,000 is what the Army Corps thinks. Again, this is a back of the envelope estimate, and they still have contingencies close to 50+%. So we don't really know a lot about cost right now, but what we do know is this would be the lowest cost option. The schedule to complete a project, if we were to move forward with full removal, would also be the quickest, about 6 to 12 months in total. The trade-offs for you to be aware of is that we'd be removing those historic features. One of the things that the Niestrums has said is they like those historic features. It's something that they like. And also we have less data on long-term stability potentially because there's nothing to measure against. It's just a natural environment. But of course, there's no structural components in place, so not a lot to watch also. Option 2. This would be an engineering solution, including partial removal. This effectively would retain 8 to 10 feet of the structure with the fish ladder and the mill race. It would add rock anchors and riprap for stabilization. So for those of you who want a little more info, riprap is basically piling large rocks along the structure to stabilize it.
Can I ask another question? What is the mill race? I've worked in mills, flour mills for 15 years. I've never heard that terminology.
I love these things because they're really, really cool. Back in the day, the way that we had electricity is that we took a portion of the river and we redirected it down essentially a little tunnel that we created out of concrete. And down inside of that tunnel, we had a wheel that spun. That wheel is currently sitting at the park. And so that very wheel spun.
Where's the wheel at?
Under the welcome
It's at
sign.
the park,
Yeah.
under the welcome sign.
It was a vertical generator. There was one over in Lebanon.
Yeah, there's one.
I mean, I've seen him, I mean, because when you work in that industry, you go to these old mills, right? But I've just never heard that term.
There was one in Eugene that they did a very beautiful job of preserving underneath the I-5 bridge. And if anybody's ever gone to Belknap Hot Springs and their Japanese gardens, they have a beautiful, completely still like there.
Millstone.
The whole thing is still there. It's probably my favorite example.
A lot of
I was just in that structure yesterday, TJ. I got sick this weekend at Belknap Hot Springs.
So sorry, that's my wife and I's favorite place in Oregon, just about.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's a really cool vertical turbine thing.
Yes. So they're historic structures, right? And so like in the city of Eugene, for example, they did have to preserve it. One thing I'll mention,
that's it.
there's some unknown information right now. That historic mill race may be historic from the sense of a preservation aspect.
Could we get a grant from a historical society?
Potentially so, but I want to make you aware that the State Historic Preservation Office will make a determination that they have yet to make and decide whether or not it's truly a historic resource or not. If it is a historic resource and we still want to rip it out, we may have to mitigate for that. And in some cases, you can't rip these things out depending on how historic they are. I don't think it's going to cross that threshold, but there are some unknowns still. So whether or not we can go with option 1 completely unencumbered is unknown. Option 2, which is what the Niestrums have indicated that they like those features. Partial removal, of course, would leave a component of that there. And if SHPO came back and said, hey, it is a historic resource, we might lean this direction depending on what the cost benefits are
Mhm.
between actual dollars and what the community and the council and the property owners want. That's a really good question. And check out the one in Eugene. That's probably my favorite example. The cost here is around 350,000 to 500,000. The schedule would also be about 6 to 12 months. The trade-offs is moderate maintenance and permitting, and it relies on engineering judgment. Here's what I mean by that. When this mill race was put into place, they had no ability to determine what the bedrock was made out of, what they were anchoring into at that point in time. We'd be taking that as given, and we wouldn't be able to determine really what that is either under this scenario. And so what essentially they'd be doing is putting rock anchors down into the bedrock, but they don't fully know that it's going to be doing exactly what it is that they want it to do. So there could be some minor or potentially significant risks associated with that if the bedrock is not what they thought it was, or there was anything else that came out of that as an issue. That's where we came to option. Please go ahead, Councilor Lindner.
On option 2, for the moderate maintenance permitting, who's responsible for that maintenance? The city or
Yes.
somebody? Okay, so we would have to come up with staffing to take care of that maintenance.
Yes, and so what I will tell you is that a small dollar amount, around $50,000, has been provided from the Long Tom Watershed Council for operations and maintenance over the first couple of years after the dam is removed. That's largely the intent there, is to try to address any impacts to the water system, so that we can continue to treat it and maintain good quality water for the residents if and when that ever comes about. What you're talking about and what we're talking about here in terms of operations and maintenance is anything that might happen to the banks. Like, for example, if you have a big concrete structure in the middle of the river, the water is going to push around to each side of that. And as a result, it could potentially cut into the banks. And if that happens, we could have some concerns, because that's where our water intake is. That's also where our outflow is for, our DEQ permitting, where all of our wastewater comes out this time of year. So there's some things to think about there and be aware of. Again, this is really high level, back of the envelope. And I should also take this moment to remind you all that there was the decision made that we are not moving forward this coming summer. It's the next summer of 2027. So we've bought ourselves some time to really answer some of these questions and get some funding for some other pieces that we want to tack onto this, by the way, like the water treatment stuff.
When did that decision come about?
That decision was largely the Army Corps of Engineers saying they had a October 30th drop dead date of us deciding which option we wanted to select. And if we didn't select it by that date, then we'd have to move into the 2027. I made the determination that we were nowhere nearly as close to the water intake RFP as was believed by our project partners before I came on board, largely because we have to be the ones that put that RFP forward. Long Tom can't do it for us. Because we're a government entity and it's our water system, and we're required to be the ones to put that RFP out there and hire that contractor. So they've got to move money around. There's just a lot that needs to happen. So we told them, let's just wait.
Okay, thanks.
Absolutely. And then option 3. Remember, we talked a moment ago about the bedrock risks, the things that we don't know about if we were to move forward with option 2. Option 3 is essentially one that's put forward as a way to fully review what those risks would be, rather than just sort of going for it. This would conduct a full structural and geotechnical study. It would identify stability and design needs before taking any action. And it would also provide the most technical certainty. The cost here, we're talking about $1 to $1.5 million. It could go up from there. We're not certain about that, but that's a ballpark estimate at this time. And the schedule could be 1 to 2 years, plus some follow-up as well. So it would take longer. The trade-offs here are high cost and long timeline. This is investigation only, by the way. This is no direct restoration. And so the direct restoration would be penciled out once we did the full assessment of what needed to be done. And the reason we would do this is if we truly felt that we wanted to keep all of the structural components of the mill race and the fish ladder. That would really be what we're saving and what we're paying for to keep. There could be cultural and community resources there that drive you to think that way. But if you wanted to go option number 2, then option number 3 is provided as a way to make you certain about all of those risks. we don't have to do that. But option two, of course, leaves those risks open that could arrive in the future. Just a quick overview of what those are. I think y'all can see that pretty well. It's really looking at the cost, the schedule, whether or not the fish ladder remains in place. That third option, it's uncertain, because the study would tell us what the best approach would be. Environmental benefit, of course, to be determined on the third option, and on the first option would be the highest. Design complexity, of course, that increases with each option. Maintenance needs, likely the same, as well as data certainty and historic value. Those are also here for variables that you can consider. As I said, you've got a lot more information there in front of you, and this is certainly something that we'd want to bring forward for a planning commission meeting, joint meeting with the city council later on. We're not there yet. We're still thinking. The city is still meeting with the Long Tom Watershed Council on basically a weekly basis and quarterly with the Army Corps of Engineers. So if you have questions or concerns now, great time to bring them up, but there's going to be lots of opportunity moving forward as well.
Why does this fall on the city?
The city, it's our water intake first off. We handle the TMDL permits and all the DEQ permits and everything that has to do with the waterway. And so we would be the non-federal sponsor. Even if it was fully privately owned, there'd still have to be a non-federal sponsor, a local government involved in the 1135 project. But basically, to be honest with you, it has mostly to do with all of the health and safety components that come along with the water too.
Yeah, of course, there's a lot of, speculation there without a big study, but so I'm curious too, we're talking about anchors. What are we anchoring for?
So basically that is to keep the mill race in place. And so what they'd want to do is they'd want to anchor it down and then put riprap around it as well.
And the fish ladder?
I
want to keep that as
likely the
option
fish
two.
ladder would remain, most likely.
I guess I need to go take a look at it again, but if they're taking out part of the levee, the water's going to drop anyway, so the fish ladder is null and void by
It's
view.
not operational, I don't think.
Yeah,
It's
they would
just
have
gonna
rock
be
over it.
historical.
Yeah, the fish aren't hopping up there.
So why are we worrying about a fish ladder? I guess.
Okay.
I agree.
I hear your point there. There's the argument of the cultural and historic resources, and that there may be an aesthetic value to keeping that as well as a historical and cultural value. That's really the point that's being made.
Okay,
Visually, I think it might look cluttered to have, and
it sounds
not-
like it.
yeah, like it's just like a lot more dimension and texture than we would really need on a nice river.
Yeah, and I'll be really clear with you too. They provided kind of actually a drawing that somebody had put together like at their desk, but they
Yeah.
wanted to give us a sense of what that would look like. You'd have that riprap, those riprap, those large rocks, all the way up to the top of the fish ladder. So it would just like a pile of rocks around something, but you wouldn't
That sounds weird.
really be able to see exactly what it
Yeah.
is.
And that's what the current owners, they're leaning towards option two currently.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up because they were really leaning towards option two prior to meeting with them. Once we had the opportunity to meet with them and explain to them that that's exactly what you would see, it did make them go, well, let's think about it. We'll come back to you and have another discussion. So they're still thinking this through too. You, the city, is one stakeholder. That property owner, they're one stakeholder. Each stakeholder really has to give their own perspective.
Perhaps I'm a little just confused. There's a lot of entities involved in this project. I had no idea that these conversations were happening with the Niestrums. How are we getting filled in on that information?
Yeah,
And how
thank you.
will we continue to get filled in and moving forward?
So that's been a big objective of mine. This project needs to come before you regularly. That is what I'm doing today. It will continue to come before you regularly. It is important that you know what's happening as it's happening, rather than hearing about it after the fact, especially since this is an extremely expensive, very complicated project with federal, state, county, local partners, as well as private entities. So we're turning a corner there. I've
Okay.
also implemented weekly meetings with the Long Tom Watershed Council and myself as the city of Monroe. I love the fact that they're doing their thing, but this is our project and we need to walk hand in hand with them. And so as part of that, you'll be getting regular updates.
Okay, because I did hear you say you were having weekly meetings and then quarterly meetings with, is it the Long Tom Watershed Council?
With the Army Corps
Or the Army
quarterly
Corps?
and then with the Long
Yeah.
Tom weekly.
Okay, and I don't know when those started, but I have not been receiving regular communication. I'm looking forward to that and moving
Great.
forward.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
that started about a month ago.
Okay,
That was something that I was very adamant about that needed to happen. We brought the Army Corps of Engineers here on site. We had a good conversation with them. Really, it was taking this ball in the middle of there, grabbing it,
no,
and
for
taking
sure.
control of it, and
Yeah.
then making sure I'm reining all of the different
Yeah,
partners
I get to, no
together.
easy task. I can
No, not
imagine.
at all, but you will continue to get this information and more.
Perfect, thank
Is
you.
there a risk
DJ.
factor if we leave anything standing over there?
Is there a risk factor if we leave something standing?
Yeah, like the fish ladder and the mill race.
Yes.
I mean, to me, it's just gonna be a curiosity. Kids can walk through there. There's no fencing to keep them from crawling all over it. I can see it as a risk factor instead of having a regular, just a bank left.
It's definitely a perspective to bring up. Absolutely.
Yeah, because they're already doing that.
Yeah, they're already doing it. So, yeah,
Yes.
I'd say. Pull it out.
I would
DJ,
like
I've got a
to-
question for you
Go
also.
ahead. Go ahead, Counselor.
Sorry, thank you. Going back to Counselor Williams' question, I wonder if, since we have work sessions on a monthly basis, and obviously you can't fill us in after every weekly meeting, do you save your notes in a file on the shared drive that we can all access, just so we can passively take a look rather than you have to go out of your way to mail your notes to us about meetings? Like, are we able to access information about those meetings?
I'm keeping high-level notes about action items and things that need to get carried forward to our next meetings. I am producing reports and documentation such as what you're looking at right here was provided to the Niestrums before we met with them
Okay.
as a tool to provide. So you're seeing that stuff as it comes out. You'll continue to get these things in your packets. There isn't a shared drive location that I'm at. I mean, we could share what we're working from with a long Tom. It's just a lot of data. My goal is to make sure that I'm summarizing it all for you, bringing it all to you so that you can see it.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I wanted to make a suggestion. I know we have some newer counselors and some have not been on site to see what it actually looks like out there. I've only been out there because we've had to fix some things in the past. It's interesting. The accessibility of it is a little challenging, but perhaps we could figure out a way to get the counselors out there if you were interested.
Fish below it before.
Yeah, I don't think everyone
I'm
knows
not
what it looks like.
100%
I think also need to understand the reasoning why Nordstroms or
Stroms.
Niestrums, sorry, are involved in it, because I'm looking at my Onyx and obviously they own out part way into the river, but not all the way across. So I mean, we could tear our half out and they can decide what to do with their
You're
half.
correct. So I haven't split that hair yet.
Yeah.
I've noticed that you're very observant, Counselor, right? You're absolutely right. There are some elements that need to be discussed further. The Niestrums are just one stakeholder, I think, as everybody has brought up tonight. The city, our citizens, other property owners are also stakeholders. So my goal is to make sure that everybody has all of the information as soon as it's out. We get all of the feedback and all of the different perspectives, and that's going to help us make sure that whatever direction we're going in, nobody was left out of that.
Thank you.
Yes, Counselor Cuthbertson.
I don't even know if I want to bring it up because I'm mad and it's been so long and it's like splitting hairs. But a long time ago when we started this, I know I asked personally, this is like sort of a new project and we're kind of guinea pigs. So I wanted to know if there were any other communities, small communities or places where it involved the water intake, that where they had done something like this and what the outcome had been. And I had been told that they would look into that, get that information back to us and stuff, and never heard anything. And so I don't like to be naggy and I don't want to be negative. I'm not trying to be negative, but I just think that that's something that we should know.
Thank you for bringing that up. So I've identified about 7 other projects that have gone through the 1135 program. What I didn't drill down on was that second component of your question is how many of them had the water intake element there as well.
Mhm.
I can do that research. I can find out for you on that.
I think the one down on the Williams River might have had it.
Well, and
Or-
we were
whichever
told
town
by the other entities that have been pushing this, that they were going to come up with that information. And then they didn't. So
You'll get
anyway,
it from me.
Oh, that was the Army Corps of Engineer guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I just want, it'd be nice if they followed through with the stuff that we
Was
asked.
that-
Well,
was
and
that
you know, they
Cam
can
back
only-
the other day?
It was after
It
Cam.
was after Cam.
Even
Yeah.
if they provided it, I don't know if they provided it, but if they
Correct.
had, I don't know if it made its way to you.
Right,
If they
right.
had forgotten to, provide it, it would have been incumbent upon the city to say, hey, remember that thing we were
Right.
asking you for?
And that's why I'm asking again now. And I hate to do it because it's like beating a dead horse sometimes, but I really think that that's important information for us to have.
Thank you. I'm really glad that you're bringing
Well,
that
if
up.
you
That's the
find
intent of this
items
discussion.
like that, it's good examples to how the. some
Well,
of the
it would
problems
help
were
us
resolved.
know
Yeah.
what we're getting into, because they
Mhm.
did admit to us that a lot of this is brand new and they didn't really know. And so when they're coming to us with an idea of something they want to do, but they don't really know, that makes me a little bit
And I'll be
nervous
honest,
and
I
I'd like a little more information.
Can't
That's all I'm saying.
imagine there can be too many situations like ours.
Probably not, but that's what also
Any.
makes me really nervous.
I think we had a question in the audience or somebody has.
There's a lot of dams.
But do they have a lot of intakes for the city water by them?
I would say that's probably not as uncommon as you might think, only because a lot of cities in
Mhm.
Oregon get their water from the river.
Yeah.
And it's like a daisy chain. You're bringing water in, then you're pushing it out
Mhm.
downriver on the effluent, and the next city is taking up your effluent,
Mhm.
cleaning it out and spitting it back out. And so how many of them essentially have, river or, dams or whatever there? Probably quite a few, because Long Tom, just on the Long Tom River, the council is trying to take down, I think, 2 or 3 others. And they're working with the cities and jurisdictions on those as well.
Hmm.
But I will find out. If there are any precedents, we'll bring them to you. Go ahead, Councilor Lindner.
Sorry, when you start your research, you could maybe take a look at the Klamath River Basin or the Klamath River Dam that was removed, because I'm sure a lot of towns along the Klamath River have water intakes as well. And
That's
a
one of
really
my
good
example. That's one of my example projects that I brought to one of our last meetings with the Long Tom Watershed Council. One
Awesome.
benefit is always the question is, are you going to see fish after you take down the dam? And the article that they produced recently said, hey, wow, look, we're seeing coho salmon where we've never seen them before. So that does
Yeah.
happen.
Well,
But,
I put a link in the chat if you're interested.
oh, thank you.
And to that point, they were saying there were no fish above the dam, and I said, I caught one in my creek. So I don't know who's doing your studies, and I don't know who, but so I get that, but I also know there can be other things. And with the Klamath one, that's all great and good. The only thing I've seen in the paper about it is that people can kayak now and they're all excited about kayaking, but that doesn't take care of water.
Right.
Mhm.
And so that is where I'm most concerned. I love to fish. I love fish, whatever. I want people to have their cultural stuff. That's great, whatever. But my biggest concern is that our citizens have water.
Absolutely. Thank you for expressing that, because
So-
that helps us, that gives us our North Star from your perspective, from this council's perspective.
So did we have a question or comment from the public?
Whichever
I saw
one
2
wants to go
hands.
first.
Well,
Go ahead, John.
Question of sharing information about the past projects. We have this Nelson project, which was a project that we shared on the Yakima River. That was handed out to people about water intake and irrigation. Removal of drought structure and water intake. And then also the 26 slowhead dams removed in Iowa. Some of those also do water intakes. We've been handing that out.
I haven't seen that one yet, John.
Yeah, I haven't seen either of those, and I specifically asked that question, so I find that a little interesting. So,
Okay. Okay.
Also, this is, and it could be that it was like 5 years ago, in 5 years you may have forgotten. But this has always been available at all of our public meetings, all of our public outreach efforts, just to make sure people understand this has happened and it's been positive for all places. Iowa, the only problem with one of these is they let it go long, they got flushed out. They didn't proactively.
Well, I mean, the assessment of those case studies, I think that needs to be done separately. Identifying them is one thing, right? But rather than just like one person reading it and saying, here's what you're looking at. I think it really needs to be a presentation to the community about here's some other precedents and examples. Here's what happened and how it happened. I think that's one thing we certainly can do.
Public outreach, we did that. We had those kind of meetings, but it's been a while, like I said, this project's been going on for so long.
Right, people forget. Yeah.
So it doesn't stay current.
Mhm.
I think, the most important aspect of this is not to see what's been done before, but are we
Right.
Raise that question multiple times. And that's why the RFP process and making sure the engineer is going to highlight what this project is they want. The city will not move forward on this until it's guaranteed that the water transition is important. That's why the RFP process is so important. We need our engineers involved. And the Army Corps is fully committed to not move forward with this project until full coordination between
Mhm.
our intake system and dam. That's the priority. Central, like 80%. So there's still a question about how to manage that transition, and I think that's a question of engineering and people have done this many times. The presentation to the council by Vallis, gave three examples of communities along the road. And if you pull those back together, put them all on a website, refer people to those sites. People can that kind of uses criteria.
You have to tell them what you're gonna tell them, and then tell them what you told them. And you have to do that over and over again. Even if you're an advocate, right, who's been involved in it all these years, you're like pulling your hair out saying, we did this already, we said this already, we talked about this. Unfortunately, it's the reality.
Did they pull out the Keno Dam on the Klamath? Did they pull out the Keno Dam on the Klamath?
Three dams plan, and we haven't talked about those. Most of those are like big dams.
Okay.
And we try to focus on low dams. So that this one,
But, well, I don't think the Keno's very big, is it? I was just thinking, because that's a very similar city to our size.
Yeah.
And I think their water is coming out of the pool.
yeah, you're right, that's not one of the three major dams.
Yeah.
What I want to encourage, and I know that John is our historian on this really, but I mean, we could go all night about it, right? But the reality is though, my goal is to get your questions, not to address them or rebut them right now, but to get them.
Right.
And then to come back to you with coordinated answers.
Okay, Tim, also a member of the public, has got a question.
I'm sorry, what are you from?
Where am I from? Alpha.
I'm sorry?
Alpha.
John's
No,
on the-
no.
This is
Maybe
John
what-
Gray
He's
Davis.
on the
What do you
11:45.
represent?
John is on the planning commission, and he's working alongside the city in a planning commissioner role to work with the Longtom Watershed Council on this project.
Yes, I'm on the planning commission, and this project started many councils ago and many management ago.
Yes.
And I've just been, I've just remained involved in order, as the city shifted and moved around, it provided some continuity to the project for those who are moving forward.
Thank you.
Okay, Tim, go ahead. What was your question, sir?
Well, mine's more of a statement, but I've lived here long enough to see this river overflow 3 or 4 times now, where you can't even see the dam. This, the hydraulics of this water coming out of the Fern Ridge area, it brings trees, just all kinds of different issues down that river. If you take half the dam out, you're gonna be having some major issues with just the hydraulics when we have this kind of a flooding. And then you talk about riprap, putting riprap in there. I don't know if you ever watched Gold Rush shows on the river. But the guy will come up and he'd say, oh, that large rock, that was over there.
Yeah.
Last year.
Mhm.
All because of the power of the river. And so if you start putting riprap in there, and we have a major flood, all this riprap's gonna go that way. And then another thing you need to know is when the Willamette floods its banks, the Longtom down here, it backs up 7 miles from the Willamette. So you don't really lose the density, it just, everything just kind of stays the same. That's why you got such flooding. Most of the flooding is gonna happen towards Junction City. But if you only take out half the dam, you're gonna have some big issues. So
Yeah, I think most people are not leaning toward option 2 anyway, and that would have the most riprap.
But it is a point. I appreciate that. And what I'm hearing in your statement is largely a question. If half the dam is removed, will there be significant hydrology and hydraulics issues? One thing I'll say is there is an H&H engineer on board in the 1135 project who is spearheading that entire component of this project. And so his modeling is very detailed computer modeling, and his expert guidance is going to be what gives the Corps the confidence to do what they're going to do if they move forward, as well as for us. Tim, I really appreciate the question.
The sewer line's over here too, so
Mhm.
you start moving all that riprap down over there. That'd be- I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, and of course, our engineer would have something to say about that as well. But the thing is, my goal here is to collect all of the questions. We don't really know what the facts are because none of us are subject matter experts in this. But my goal is to make sure that we're bringing up all the questions and we're getting the experts to provide answers to them.
I have seen half dams here in Oregon, and they're basically clutter collectors. You know, you get a lot of riprap and, I mean, not riprap, but trees and stuff piling up on them. Next thing you know, it starts migrating and closing off the rest of the river.
Is that where the maintenance comes in?
It could. There's going to be operations and maintenance of a different flavor with each one of these options. And really, we'll be getting down further into the weeds about that over the coming months. And we'll also have comments from Chuck Scholes and Mark Murray on those sorts of things.
One more quick clarification. This group has been through the feasibility study, which we talked about options, different kinds of options, bigger options. And I just want to make sure we're not confusing these more recent options, which are very focused just on the mill race and fish ladder. There's no revisiting the entire option to your study there. But when we talk about options, sometimes people are confusing this.
I don't think anybody was going there, John.
Well, I've heard it.
No, I mean, in this discussion.
Yes.
Well, I think it's good to reiterate it.
I just want to clarify that point. If we talk about options, just-
Good point. Yeah.
The first one was, are we going forward? The no alternative was one of the options, right? And so what you're talking about during the feasibility study was, is it feasible to do it, where the no, do nothing is still an option versus doing something? And we've chosen to do something option. And because we chose a do something option, we're now talking about what exactly?
How far of something?
Right. And so I think John's concern is, whoa, don't pick us back to question one, right? We've already said we're taking it down, right? Nobody's going back to that square. We're talking about this here. These.
Yeah, and all I'm trying to do is avoid confusion, because somebody's come to me and said, we're revisiting all the options. I said, no, this is just an option, how best to address this one issue. And just so we can avoid any kind of confusion. That's really, it's very focused.
Just how if we're keeping the mill race or not, that's the big piece. Go ahead, Councilor Evans.
So option 2 here is only taking out half the dam.
No, you're essentially, you're keeping a portion of it. You're keeping the mill race and the ladder. The dam is coming down full. It's about the mill race structure itself. And I think a visit out to the site, as Mayor Sheets was suggesting, would be helpful, because then you all could get some eyes on it. I know we've had a couple site visits with the Corps over the last couple of years. We certainly can schedule a local site visit to take everybody out there and do a field trip.
I walk by it almost daily, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you how I am feeling at the moment. I mean, option 1 is probably the best option in my opinion. I am interested in understanding what the engineering looks like with, with the water flow and the hydrology or whatever that's called. Because option 2 is interesting to me as well. I'm not going to lie. There is some interest from a cultural context and a historical context to kind of keep some of that. But I just would like to see what the engineering results and what they propose it looks like in moving forward, and what the operational costs associated with that would be for the city of Monroe, estimated.
Thank you.
I have a question for the historical aspects. Is there a way if we decide to remove the whole thing, is there a way to preserve the mill race in the fish ladder, to put somewhere with a plaque saying this was on the river, blah, 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 like?
No. You've got a ton of concrete and it's all got to get broken up. So it's going to get lifted out and removed. However, what we do in those situations, we, the royal we, what people do in those situations is they put up commemorative signage and other types of augmented
and
reality
such.
and virtual reality and cool little
Pictures.
things that tie nicely into things like our transportation system plan and our river walk, our river master plan overlay and some of the other multimodal features that we want to see in and around the river, the footbridge, all those sorts of things can incorporate those markers.
Mhm.
Think-
Just a suggestion, I was thinking, the South Bend Community Historical Association, maybe we could talk to them about getting some pictures so they can, keep some posterity there.
Yep.
Right.
Because they could put them up in their museum and also help with plaques.
Absolutely. So to summarize, I've heard other projects, 1135 projects, where there is a very clear water intake component. What happened? How did it happen? What did they do? What did they find? What did they learn? Secondly, if the dam's removed, will there be hydraulic and hydrology issues? If it's half removed, will there be the same thing? What does that do in terms of the impact to the community and impact to the city in terms of cost? And also, and kind of ties right into that, you had said engineering studies and operational costs, Councilor Williams, as well. What can we get to help shore those things up?
Mhm.
Am I missing anything?
You captured it.
I'm sorry, Councilor Linder, go ahead.
Sorry, I think you captured it.
Okay, great. Again, my job is to just give you updates, get your questions, make sure we ask them to the right people and bring that back to you, rinse and repeat. So we will be back to you again to talk about this. This won't be our last discussion. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the Rural Economic Alliance, or REAL collaboration, and I believe that's in the packet here as well.
Mhm.
So I believe it's time to renew, is that correct, TJ?
Yes, that's exactly right. I'll say that my predecessor did not attend these meetings. I was informed when I went to one, they were like, oh, Monroe's here. It had been actually, they've been meeting for 6 years. And Monroe hadn't joined the party before, but we are part of the MOU. And so we technically have a cost associated with our membership. I provided in your packet essentially an IGA, which is tying all of these local communities together: Lebanon, Sweet Home, Philomath, Halsey, Tangent, Brownsville, Monroe, Harrisburg, and Adair Village. And the goal is to focus on economic development efforts regionally. How do we leverage that SEDS that the Economic Development Committee talked about, which you all will also be getting some updates on in the next couple of months after they work through that. How do we bring in businesses or share resources and information to grow our small little communities?
So we're a little bit late to the party because it looks like the agreement started May 1st.
Technically, we're not the only ones who have not yet signed yet. They're slowly moving on their own due to a number of issues. So everybody's in this stage.
What is our financial commitment to this? Is it
think it said 8 grand.
percentage or?
Yeah, so basically it's a percentage, and they want to do it by proportional. They actually just worked this out, so it's not in essentially this IGA, but it's roughly $10,000 is what they think it's going to cost from Rain, as well as a consultant that they've brought on just for the real component. And they just now decided this last week, let's do it based on proportion of the city size.
Okay.
So how many years have we been involved?
We have, I mean.
Not
define-
showing up to the meetings,
Define
but,
involved.
how many
Paying
years have
money.
we been paying into this?
Knowledge, I don't think we've paid. I
don't
asked
think
Don.
we have.
I asked Don to look back in our records, and I have no record of any money being paid to Rain or Real in the past. I think it was basically as we just didn't show up, and they're like, whatever. You know, they,
Well, we've paid Rain in the past.
Okay.
It's been a while though.
Yeah.
And then you and I went to we went to what, 1 or 2 real meetings? Was it Halsey?
Halsey.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with
two
Councilor
two
Rich.
meetings.
Yeah.
how long ago was that?
Uh,
Was it 2 years ago now?
It was after I came on board again, right?
Mhm.
2023,
Yeah, so 2 years
Yeah.
ago. Yeah.
November, I think, something like that.
They're holding them now in Lebanon permanently, but I've also encouraged them
Lebanon?
to do a hybrid meeting. So I'm hanging out in Monroe.
So I guess part of the reasoning why I asked the cost, or if we paid in the past, because look at things as if we're buying something, then what am I getting in return?
Mhm.
Yes.
So if I'm going to give them 8 to 10 grand, what am I getting in return?
Good question.
We better be getting something in return.
So here's what I want to suggest.
Operation?
What I want to, go ahead.
Sorry, can
Counselor.
I?
Yeah.
So I participated in the RAIN program. You get free business consultation as part of a project, a program that goes on for like, I want to say 2.5 months. And ultimately, I decided not to pursue this side business that I have to the extent that that program is preparing me for. But I think if you have somebody who works and lives from home and has a cottage industry kind of thing that they want to rely on, RAIN is pretty valuable for people like that. And I do think that we have probably some families here in Monroe that don't leave the city to work elsewhere. They want to have a job or have they want to start a business of their own here in town. And
Exactly.
So Lisa, what I
Yeah.
understand then is it's providing a service to community members.
yep,
Okay,
anybody in the community. can-
resources.
It's
Yep.
important to keep in mind too, though, that there's a couple of audiences that RAIN has. So Councilor Linder just summarized perfectly their primary audience,
Mhm.
which is prospective business owners. Their secondary audience is also local governments. And so that's the focus of this IGA, is servicing a local government in our efforts to attract said businesses. And they typically try to aim a little bit higher than, like, the sole proprietors. They're trying to pull in people who have 10, 20 employees, find good commercial industrial locations for them, really think about economic development as a practice. I will also say that we have our own independent relationship with RAIN. RAIN works with all of the cities that are within its area. And so we have a research accelerator and innovation network across the state. There's one in every single one of the community colleges. They have relationships with all the cities. Our relationship with RAIN is not dependent upon our relationship with REAL. However, what I'll talk about here are some of the deliverables, the things that we get out of that. And I've got this up on my screen here. There's asset mapping. So they want to develop a comprehensive list of resources to meet the purpose of this partnership. Things like working with the state of Oregon, nonprofits, financial resources, angel investors, market sectors, higher education, and so forth. Oregon Prospector, which is a resource, a tool, populate available property with uniformity, devote resources to maintaining this important database and identify all relevant information. I'll say they're still at the ground level. I know they've been working for quite some time, but they're kind of still at the ground level of what they're trying to do. In fact, they just hired a consultant to put together a strategic plan, of what it is they're going to be doing, but they want to do stuff and they're very excited, and we're a part of that right now still.
I think one of the things I remember from the meetings was the guy that did the presentation, wasn't he supposedly our lobbyist?
Yeah, and I don't think he is anymore.
He was a lobbyist for everybody in this.
Sean Tate, I think it was.
Yeah,
From RAIN.
from Rain.
Yeah.
Well,
Rain
there was
or-
a guy
So-
named Nate Conroy too.
That's right. Nate is the guy now.
Yeah, Nate.
And there's Nate, yeah.
He's still there.
That's the
He's
range.
still operating as essentially the lobbyist. And again, his services are still available to us just as a city directly. We don't have to go through REAL to get that. But yes, they are directly involved. Contract management and personnel. They want to talk about accomplishing necessary objectives, the RAIN entrepreneurship components, and then of course personnel. Discuss advantages of hiring personnel. I will say that they have a community college intern, and her time is theoretically to be split among all of the cities. She spent some time in Halsey. I do have some things that I think that we can have her do here locally with our economic development folks. Remember, you can't take an action tonight. So my goal, of course, is to bring this to you so that you have an opportunity to ask some questions. You can read through it over the next couple of weeks. And ideally, I would bring this before you for the city council meeting so you can have any further deliberation and then ultimately make an action swifter than just bringing it to you once and done on a city council meeting. So the intent tonight is just really put it in front of you. Other concerns or questions that you'd like me to bring to them?
So $8,000 to $10,000, is that total, or is that what everybody that's part of REAL has to pay?
That would be total.
Total. Okay, so we would we'd pay a portion of that.
Correct.
Okay.
I was
That's
just wondering.
That
much
makes more
better.
sense. I'm thinking, why are we paying
Yeah, I
8 to
was,
10,000?
I had lots of
And
questions.
that's
As a city.
membership fee, though, is there any usage costs that we have to pay for?
Is there,
Oh, you pay for play after that? No,
Yeah.
nothing like that, no.
so there's 9 cities. Okay.
And then is there a way, like, do they do any kind of reporting? Like, I'm super huge on if we're gonna put money out, I want to see what we're getting in our area, right? So it's great.
Tangibility.
And I love, I've done some rain stuff before, and I remember when this first came out, we were all really excited. But I like to see the reality of what really happened in our community for the dollars that were invested. So I love that they have all the things that they're offering to us, but are we taking advantage of it? If we're not taking advantage of it, why not? Are we as a city not getting the word out, or what's going on, or how is that working? And is it really benefiting our constituents?
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
It does. It
Okay.
perfectly makes sense. And I captured that here. Thank you.
Okay.
I wouldn't limit it
You're
to
speaking
just
my
what we're
mind.
getting out of it though, because I'd like to see what the other cities are getting out of it. Just to see if we're missing something. They might have an idea or something that they're working on that we can actually
Oh,
leverage
totally.
ourselves.
Oh, totally.
So I
totally.
would like to see a report of the full report of everything that's being done.
Sure, okay. And I could also ask that there's a couple of members that have been there on board for a long time, like Scott McDowell, I think from
Brownsville.
Brownsville, thank you.
Yeah.
He's eager to talk with councils if they have questions. I could absolutely invite him to give some more feedback.
I just want to make sure that we get our bang for the buck and that we're also doing our, because it's a part of it is our due diligence too. I mean, we can pay for it and stuff, but if we're not promoting it in our community or making it available, or people really aren't aware and can't use it, then, you know, it's kind of the same thing. So we just need to make sure that we're doing all the right things so that
We have to take.
it can
advantage
be a
of our money
benefit
spent,
for
yes.
everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Would you like me to ask Scott to be present for maybe 15-20 minutes for some questions remotely, even at the council meeting, so that you guys can ask some stuff?
I don't know. I mean, like, we've done rain before. That would be up to everybody else. Like, I'm okay with all of it. I just want to make sure that we know, like, we kind of have an updated, this is what's going on, this is how we can improve, you know?
More information might be sufficient for you.
Yeah. But I don't know with some of the new counselors, if they're not aware, if they would want more information on it.
We might want to have Nate here too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
We want to keep an idea of what our ROI is on. it.
Absolutely. What I'm hearing is that we're still uncertain about a number of things. Nobody's trying to shove this down our throats by the end of the month. So my thought is we could actually ask them to come back at the next work session and put this on the December agenda for final action. There's no reason to accelerate it. I think. that
That's
we have-
fine.
Does that work for
And,
y'all?
and I, like I said, I'm not against it. I just want to make sure that we have a good idea and we can, if we choose to participate, that we're going to be able to make the best out of it for our community.
Absolutely.
I have a different perspective. I was a participant in RAIN and have dealt with Nate, and I didn't get a lot of value out of it, to be perfectly honest with you. I found, being in Monroe, nothing was near Monroe. So that was kind of a challenging aspect. So
Mhm.
I think that's just my personal take, and I'm similar situation to Lisa Linder, who pursued other options. I didn't decide to do that. But it's an interesting perspective.
I worked with Rain back in 2019 when I was forming my business as well, and I won't comment on it. I had good, and had everything, mixed bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'd be open to hearing what they say, but it really would be nice if they could focus that on Monroe and how they can
Mhm.
serve us and,
Benefit us.
yeah, because that was probably the main concern that I had, the main takeaway that I had.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
And to what you said, I had a similar experience, and with one person, I wasn't able to get very much. With another person, I got more, which started things going, but then I didn't get a lot of follow-up after that, and so I kind of lost my grip with that because I was too busy to continue on. And so I think that there's just things that we can work on both sides to
Yeah.
make it, if we're gonna do it, I just want it to be beneficial.
So
I'm
I
not
will,
saying
I
it
will get
wouldn't
them
be.
here for the next work session meeting, ask them to be present.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see here. The next item on the agenda is the November City Council meeting. Currently, it is scheduled for Monday, November 24th.
No.
So is that an issue for, who is that an issue for? at this
Well,
point in time?
it's like the week after Thanksgiving, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, I might be out of town, but
Not on
I think
Monday.
I should be able to, hopefully.
You celebrate it all week?
Okay.
I'm
Yes.
preparing all
I'm
week,
kidding,
okay?
I'm
There's a
kidding.
difference. I don't know if it's a celebration.
Yeah.
Because our options on moving it are kind of limited.
All right.
Yeah,
all
like
right.
next week or nothing.
Well, then that's December. Well, there's next week and then
Yeah,
there's December.
That's what I'm saying, next week or nothing.
So
Oh.
are we leaving it on the 24th of this month?
Not unless it's next
17th or the
week.
24th.
Unless the airport's all open up, I should be here. If they don't, then I probably won't be. I'll be
There's a chance
driving
nobody's
back.
going anywhere.
Well, there is that.
No, they'll be going in the cars
Well,
for a really
yeah.
long
Gonna
time.
go hunting that week
Councilman
again.
Lee,
Oh, that's right. You're going hunting.
Do it.
That takes precedence.
Counselor Lindner, did you say something?
Sorry, we're discussing the 24th for city council.
Yeah, city council meeting. It's regularly scheduled for the fourth Monday of the month, which is the 24th. Just, we heard some folks may not be available. But it sounds like maybe folks are. I don't know.
I can't commit. I don't know. I won't know
Okay.
until it gets that close.
In the past, we skipped November, but I don't think that's a good thing.
It's good either.
My son is in the Air Force. He's a senior master sergeant. And he's retired. Ceremony to go to.
Yes,
That's important.
you are going to that.
Remind me, when is that?
17th,
17th?
It's actually on the 21st.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay,
but this will be out of town.
right. Okay, if it's the 17th, I mean, staff is gonna have to,
That's gonna be hard on staff.
Yeah,
That'll be really hard on staff, wouldn't it?
yes.
Turn around.
Putting
Serve
words,
the pleasure of the council.
yes.
Oh.
It'd be uncomfortable then.
Yes, yes.
Having,
Wouldn't matter, though.
having been in that role briefly.
Yes.
Yes. So. what do
Just
we-
keep
what
it,
we
Is
like-
it-
just keep
is
it and
it
see how it works.
Awful to push it to December, the beginning of December?
Well,
That'd be bad
December's a whole
because
nother
then,
ball of wax.
I
in
know,
itself.
because then we're gonna have our
'Cause-
same issue, right?
Yeah, well, what's gonna happen is, it's
Yeah.
gonna be the 22nd, and normally in the past, we've moved it to 15th, or the,
Yeah,
the
so
third
we get,
Monday.
there's just no way.
So we're
'cause-
gonna have two city council meetings within 2 weeks. That's gonna be
Mhm.
crazy, and I don't know if I wanna put staff through that, so.
Yeah,
So,
And
Let's
you
just
can't,
keep
and
it
you
the
can't move
21st.
it further into the week. It has to be on a Monday.
well, I mean, we can.
Well, I know,
don't
I'm
if
just
that's gonna make
spitballing.
anything better.
I don't know if it is or
We're
not.
getting-
Can I offer a thought here?
Yes,
Please.
you may, go ahead.
please.
So I can tell you in my crystal ball at the office that there isn't a significant amount of work that needs or action that needs to be taken this month. There may be a few things that we need to button up, but nothing that we need to belabor. So we could make it a short meeting. And if you wanted to do it on the 17th or 24th, I do not care, choose one. We could make it essentially a streamlined, quicker meeting. We've met rather than skipping a month. We've done the things we need to do, but otherwise we can get on with our business. That's one
He
option.
makes it sound so attractive.
So another option is the 19th, which is.
You could do another day, yeah.
That's what I'm saying, pushing it through further out in the
Yeah,
week,
well, I
giving
thought
them
you
more
meant The
time.
week of Thanksgiving, like we're getting closer to the holiday, I don't think it's better. So 19th is an option.
Yeah, you'll be,
Yeah.
19th, I have nothing going on, how strange.
We do have a remote attendance options, right? So we can attend online if we have to.
Right, right.
Cool. How are you for the 19th?
And on mine if I'm out of town.
I'm good. I mean, I can do the 24th. I may call in though.
Hey, you're doing my job. Thank you, Brian.
Okay, so-
Thank you, Brian.
Okay, let's do it this way. Who can do the 24th?
I can.
Reluctantly, I can.
It's a struggle.
Okay. I know I can. Councilor Ray, can you?
It would be a struggle, but
Yeah,
I
he has plans.
have plans that I'd have to readjust again.
So, all right. Counselor Cuthbert said.
Or not, you could just be absent.
I could be absent.
You could do that. You are allowed to do that.
Yeah, you are allowed to do,
I
I just
hate-
want to bring that up. I don't want to.
I know it's an option, but I
I'll
don't
do whatever.
usually have those as options.
Especially if I know like before the first 5 minutes
I
of the
could do
meeting,
either
right? I
one,
mean, it's-
and
You
if
can do the
it's,
17th or the 24th.
yeah, and if it's the 24th and I'm out of town, I'll just connect with my phone.
Okay. Now I'm gonna offer the option of the 19th now.
Well,
What's the
I
19th
don't care
like?
either.
I cannot
You
do
can't
the
do, you
19th.
can't do the 19th.
I can.
You can,
I can.
you can.
I'm good as long as there's not an emergency, which is every single meeting. So,
Okay then.
yeah.
It's just another day at the house.
Counselor Winters, can you do the
Another day.
19th of November.
I can do the 19th.
Okay.
It'll be an easier meeting, I promise.
Let's go with the
Promise?
19th.
Pinky promise? Because,
Promise you
okay.
guys.
Ow,
So-
ow, ow, okay.
The 19th then is where we're moving it
That's what
to.
it sounds like.
Okay.
yes.
Okay, you've got it.
Okay, all right. All right.
You even left me a few days to notice it. Thank you.
Trying to.
Trying
you
to
know,
make everybody happy.
yeah,
Trying to-
Trying to negotiate something in between. We'll make everybody happy.
Yep.
My apologies. Give me a moment here, guys. Excellent.
woohoo, look at
Okay.
that.
Last item on the agenda.
Looks so, looks.
I actually
good.
went on and
Oh,
looked,
can we use it? Can
Yes.
it? I'm going on there right now.
I'm moving
I'm
around.
gonna show you guys a couple of things before we depart.
Okay.
Can you share the screen?
Oh, yeah, sorry, Counselor Winder.
No problem.
That's City of Monroe. What's our website address again?
So it's the same as before. We have it transitioned from the,
MonroeOregon.gov.
yep,
Thank you.
MonroeOregon.gov. It was showing up on the old WordPress site.
Got
Now it directs.
It's a gorgeous
here.
picture, my goodness.
Yeah, I love it.
So I want to just
Calendar.
give you a quick overview as well as for any citizens that are watching. You have a government tab right here. We are, as in the city, a staff, we are doing the granular changes to the verbiage and the links and all that other stuff. They gave us a site. We're building it out from there. So if you want to see things change, please let us know. You have your agendas and minutes. We'll go to that in just a second. You have your city council. There's all of you right there. Our commissions and committees, which we have now updated based on the last decisions that were made last month. A contact us option, as well as our ordinances, resolutions, and we still have municipal court. We have departments, which include, go ahead. Councilor
No, you
Cuthbert.
go.
We have departments, which includes, of course, city administration, finance, planning and building, and public works, as well as utility building. Billing has its own component. Emergency management is there. We will be using that, but it's just not built out yet. Under community, there's community involvement. That's where folks can sign up for different volunteer options. Once we get that built out, we have some work to do there still. Community profile, we'll be looking to y'all in another work session where we can come up with some things that we might want to add there. The community library, of course, is still on there. And then things to see and do. This is going to be stuff that the Economic Development Committee in particular is going to help us build out, as well as a volunteer page. Business, we have business associations, business license and permits, and then of course, business solutions. Again, economic development, some of our real efforts, as well as some of the things we workshop are going to be going on here. And then a helpful links page. Before I drill down further, Councilor Cuthbertson, do you want to ask your question?
Here's my thing. I use it for one thing. And I click on calendar to see if we have a meeting. And so far that doesn't work for me. What am I doing wrong?
Yeah, thanks. Thank you so much. We are working on getting this calendar to. We're trying to get the events to populate onto the calendar. What you do is you just go to agendas and minutes. So calendar is really for events. The intent of that is for like the Blackberry Jamboree.
Okay. Show
This
me,
right here.
show me agendas and minutes
Yep,
then.
agendas and minutes right here. So there's your city council work session, your last council
Oh,
meeting.
Perfect.
So
Okay.
what you have here is if you click on this, you immediately come up to the agenda. You can link right to the meeting right there. Meeting passcode and ID if you want to join on your phone.
I'm super happy you've saved my life.
How far in the future, though? You only show up to this
That's the one
today?
thing I really
We'll be
don't
building those out too,
Okay.
but
Do I have a
basically I
meeting
post
tonight?
these. ideally a week ahead of time, and you'll see it a week ahead of time.
What day is it?
We can also start populating just blank shells of the meetings coming up so people know when they are, but you won't be seeing content until a week
Correct,
before.
So is this just the work session, city council, planning commission, or is the committees on here too?
I'll show you that in a second.
Okay.
Woohoo.
So what you have is for each meeting, you can click on the minutes. Here's your minute summary. If you want to see the full recording, you can click on it right there. But these are the actions and directions provided by council. And this is everything, right? All the things that you told us to do or that you wanted to see, rather than a really, really long 20-page of every single and. You can go listen to the recording if you want that. Otherwise, you can get the snapshot right here.
This is
Um,
awesome. It's really
And-
cool.
Go ahead, Councilor Linder, sorry.
Sorry, just saying that's really cool that that's available to the public.
Yeah. And then media, if, if you do want to go to the meeting itself, there it is. You don't have to go far. You can literally go watch the meeting and follow along with it.
And you can download which file?
It's just the agenda. You can click here or there, and it's going to do the same thing. Click here or there.
So they can't download the minutes?
Yeah, sure they can.
Oh, okay.
If you go
Are you done with the
to
recording of the minutes?
the minutes right here, there's, I know there's a download. There it is. There's a save option right there.
Yeah, okay, regular Windows stuff, okay.
Yeah, it didn't give you like the easy drop down link.
Yeah.
Yep. So to account, Mayor Sheets' question, so there's city council first and foremost. And it just goes on from there. There's parks and beautification, personnel committee, planning, it's alphabetical. So ideally we'd like to see planning next,
I
but
presume each of those are collapsible too?
yes, that's exactly right. And so it does make life a little bit easier. Thank you, Harry. We can,
So you can only have to look at the ones you want to look at.
yeah, so there it is. Nice, clean, succinct number of pages. We're working on populating all of the prior city council meetings. I directed staff to begin with the most recent and work backwards. Planning commission, because it has to do with land use, really are the most critical. A lot of those things we're approaching right now. So once they're done with 3 years worth of planning records, they're then going to be going back to city council records and getting everything in one place.
Okay.
But that is our cool, neat, tidy little website. I think it's a lot cleaner. It definitely provides a lot more information to the community.
Can you click on, I'm sorry, I
Go ahead.
was gonna say, click on community for a minute and see what's on there again.
Right now, we have to build out this page. but
Okay,
Here's the stuff that's there right now.
all right. I was just kind of spitballing, kind of curious. We could put like a hot topic segment in there
I like that. That actually brings me.
because everybody's all buzzing about the water and stuff and maybe.
Everything, right? We get all kinds of stuff.
I know, but you can pick like, say, for example, right now, water, you go in there, put all this information that people are making comments about and don't know any information about and assuming about.
Mhm,
And they can go
mhm.
in here and you can go look in the community page on our website.
Exactly right. And that's also what this is for too. When we put out public notices, that type of stuff, people can click on
Perfect.
permanently. But I love what you're saying there. The community page is also a really great place to put things that are going to stay up for a long period rather than just being a one-time notice.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. This is an opportunity for me to throw out there something I need to ask you all for, which is support, guidance, ideas really is what we need. What do you want to see on the website? If you want to throw out some verbiage, go ahead. And we'll take it from there and work with it and get it up on the website. If you want to see images or other things, we have the opportunity over the next couple months to really build this out the way that we want.
Things to see and do, we should
And who knows?
do like with BAM and the Economic Development Committee and get people that want their businesses listed or whatever. I mean, I don't know if that's a good place for it, but if there's somewhere like that on there, that would be good.
Well, like a Chamber of Commerce, which I don't think we have BAM instead,
Right.
should have a list of all the businesses.
And they do. Yeah.
And I'll be bringing to this council at another date, talking about establishing a public education and outreach committee. If that comes to pass, then that would be a committee that can be directly involved in something like website development.
Yeah, because there's a lot of groups in town that, isn't there a group down at the former church, Methodist Church, that's doing something now? Like a public outreach thing?
Very likely, yes.
Yeah,
There's a lot going on at the old Methodist Church. the
Yeah,
food
there's a
pantry,
lot.
at the food pantry, that's
Mhm.
what it was, yeah.
Heritage Hall. There we
And
go.
then there's the VFW volunteers, there's a whole bunch of people out.
Absolutely.
Or maybe even are they still doing the I want to say jazzercise. I think I'm saying the wrong thing, but is it yoga that they're doing in here or
We're
something?
doing yoga or something like that.
But it would be nice even if they could put things up there. I mean, just to even boost what's already going on in the community, because it'll help those people that are trying to start little things and also bring more community involvement.
And get more traction to our website, which would be really
Yes.
helpful.
I think we had a dance in here one time too.
Oh, that'd be
for-
fun.
For the high school or the grade school.
Maybe further down the road, think about like a little marketplace on there, maybe, you know?
Are the forums on there, are they fillable?
Not yet.
Okay,
We're getting there.
okay.
The forms are still in creation mode with the planning commission. There are many that need to be updated, and once those are complete, I'll be putting them up here after I
Okay.
make them fillable.
Nice.
Can you just click into like, I don't know, community?
We can.
Right? Yes. There was one where there were, maybe it's not, maybe, yeah, right there. So when you see, this is just me, and I'm very hyper specific. I'm a Libra, so I like balance and symmetry. And the topics are not centered properly. I know it's a very, I know, but visually, it's disturbing to me.
Are you talking about like, for example,
But you're
Monroe
correct.
Community Libraries offset? from-
Volunteer is too
Yeah.
close to things to
It's
see
all
and do.
not, it's not
I mean,
centralized.
Don't prioritize that at all. But I'm just saying.
Tidy, you're
Scones
correct.
or-
You need it to be tidy because then it's very easy to read and stuff. So
I fall under some
have
of the
to
things
agree.
that we can't control. I don't
That's
ask
true.
Civic Plus. They give you a website package with some serious borders on it, so you can't break
Okay,
things.
yeah, like I
Right.
said, don't go.
You know what I
bird
think
dogging this or
though?
anything.
I don't know if this helps the way that you're looking at it, but if like Monroe Community Library has a sub item, Monroe Community
I
Library.
know, and
like,
it's over and
it's
it's kind of.
indented because it's a sub item, I think.
Oh,
But the bold,
Gotcha.
But the bold still, it doesn't,
Is the main
yeah, that
topic.
community profile shouldn't.
'Cause
be
this-
underneath it.
right, this is on a second layer, which you would think should look like this, but I mean, you have 5 categories and really you kind of maxed out at 4 without making it look weird.
well,
looks- it
and
looks good. It
community
doesn't wrap down,
involvement
keep
and volunteering
Growing,
might
it
be
doesn't wrap down and
redundant.
down.
So what you're doing is
Yeah.
volunteering
So
your
is
time
it-
to go down. and-
No, don't ask me to do that. That is not a skill set I possess.
Yeah, so-
Wholeheartedly will tell you
Oh, no,
I
that.
that's
think-
what I heard.
Counselor
No,
Evans
no.
just solved the puzzle. If we get rid of either community involvement or volunteer, because it's essentially.
They're
kind of-
redundant.
We can put a volunteer button on the community involvement page,
Yeah.
and then you have 4, and you don't have a bold item on the second level. And then Counselor Ray and Counselor Williams will be okay with it.
I am okay. It looks really good. It looks really good. Like,
Community emergency awareness.
We have
That was under
notices,
something.
we have notices, and we have, where was it? Yeah.
That was
Public
somewhere.
notices and then community involvement, but what are you thinking of, Tim?
Well, something catastrophic
Oh,
happens around here.
Thank you. So what we do have, and I should turn one of these on just for a moment in one of our future meetings so I can show you. We have banners that we can put up and we can say, start at this time and end at this time. It could be big red emblazoned letters at the top, City Hall is closed or something big or good has happened. Come check it out. That kind of thing.
yeah.
Earthquake, don't go over the bridge.
I wasn't gonna say that one, but it was on my mind.
Like roads, don't drink the water.
Yeah, something broke down there.
Come
yeah.
on, Tim.
I'm just being realistic.
Well, you-
Boil notice.
A boil notice, yeah.
We're not there.
No, but I mean, it could
No.
happen if we had an earthquake and we lost our
Yeah,
plant.
absolutely, absolutely.
No, but we had it happen up here, drain the whole water tank.
Oh,
Mm.
I am gonna, I don't know if anybody else noticed this. I hate this picture with a passion, not because I dislike the pictures, but because it's grainy. And
Uh-huh.
so I'm
Yeah, a
gonna
little
remake that.
fuzzy.
Yeah, I deeply dislike it. I'm gonna, even if it stays the same, I'm gonna make it myself.
Can you pick your own photos? Because
Yeah.
a community member took a beautiful picture looking down on Monroe and I think it was in a sunset. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'll see if I can find it. I commented on it at one time, but it was just the most beautiful picture and it might be a really
Could
good
the
one.
Search box be below the pictures.
Yeah, that's kind of
Oh,
in the way.
I'll find out.
Or put it like up in the corner.
That or up at
or
the top in the Yeah.
Up there next to Monroe, off to the right.
Some of the other models or templates do have them like up in the corner, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Yeah.
It looks
I-
like they're all in the middle and then he's.
Yeah, they are. And I think that's because they want to make it easy for people to like, I don't know where I'm going. What do I do? How do I find stuff? I could ask about that.
Be cool.
It looks good.
Here's our city code. The calendar, which I will be getting the agendas to play nicely with the calendar. I'm working on that. Here's all our firms, forms, permits, and applications. Planning stuff primarily will be there. And then this is where people can subscribe. So when we start putting out notices, every time we post an agenda, every time we write something or want somebody to know something, they're automatically getting in their inbox, in addition to what I'm sending out myself via email.
Do we have a link to bill pay on that?
Not yet. Yes, actually, we're almost there. Let me find out if we have that up yet.
It's, trying to make it easy for people to pay their bills.
Yep,
Sometimes-
indeed. Come on.
I know there was a.
Here it is.
Yep,
There
you got
it
it
is.
done.
Okay, cool.
Right. Thank you, Don Shannon.
Yeah, that looks good.
So I have a
Nice.
question. This was something that I had suggested. It's been quite some time now. But is there any way with Civic Plus to tie, having a app on your phone that's tied to the city website so you can get emergency alerts or something like Tim was mentioning? Does that exist? Do we
There's
know?
RSS.
Mhm.
Okay,
So Real Simple Syndicate RSS feeds allow you to actually go up to the top of the site. I think it's being blocked by the stop share, but
Okay.
you can sign up for updates and anytime you can choose what you want, any change
okay.
versus notices, things like that. But as far as an app, I don't think they've gotten that snazzy yet. I don't think
Okay.
Civic Plus has an app that you can
Okay.
find your website and get notifications just for that website.
Mhm.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be very cool.
That would be, yeah.
Is there a reference to YouTube?
For what?
I didn't know City of Monroe had a YouTube.
Yes.
Neither
Yeah, thank
did
you.
we until real recent.
We have one now. We've always had one. It just sat dormant for years and years. I was getting ready to create one and I said, oh, we actually
We had it
have
for-
one because we've always had a Google account. So I just went ahead and used it. All of our minutes, all of our meetings are there.
Interesting stuff on there.
Yep.
Do we
So
have a link on this page to it?
we do. Not directly to YouTube, but if you go to the Agendas and Minutes Center, each one of these meeting media will take you there. I could plug our YouTube page, just general, on one of these pages if you thought that was helpful. I could definitely do that.
I didn't even know we had one.
Up here, I could say, see all of our meetings on YouTube, as a second sentence right here.
Well, how many social media accounts do we have?
Facebook.
Instagram, LinkedIn, and looks like we also have YouTube.
Yep.
Not X?
No. I'm not dealing with that.
All right.
So now some council would like to deal with that. They are welcome to.
Any other thoughts or questions for the good of the order on this tonight? Okay.
I think I'm good.
Feel free to send me your emails, visit me on one-on-ones. We can talk about what you want to see, what your ideas are. We'll get everything put together in one place.
Thank you, TJ.
I do have one last thing. I am just never gonna make it down. Sometimes I am flying by the seat of my pants to even make it
That's
make it
okay.
here. Can we get these printed every time?
Yes,
Okay,
your agenda packets will be printed every single time. They're available for you.
I'm not gonna make it to.
Oh, so you want me to bring them to the meeting
Yes,
each time?
please.
You've got it.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
That's
don't
what
get
I'm
home until
doing. If somebody leaves them in their box, I'm just grabbing all the ones in the box and bringing
Okay.
them. From next time, I'm gonna put the label on it so Councilor Ray doesn't try to steal yours, but
He didn't. He was ahead of the game.
He stole mine out of my box one time.
oh man, I gotta
You
watch
know
them.
You know what? I
Excuse
can't
me?
Reach my box.
I never get it. I've never
Your
been to the,
box is underneath mine.
I don't go to the boxes. So
Oh, well, they told me you took mine.
They threw you under the bus.
I've never been in
You weren't there, so they blamed you.
I can't reach my box.
You know,
I
as somebody
I
who is
print
not
mine out
exactly
at
tall, I
work.
feel where you're coming from. I'll make yours lower. Now, we'll trade you with Councilor Ray since he never comes in and gets his from the box anyway.
They have to be alphabetical.
Sean said what?
She said because they have to be alphabetical, she can't change it.
No, no. No,
okay, it's by height then.
yeah,
There you go.
there you go.
It's gonna be on the box.
All right, I think that's it.
Thanks, sir.
All right.
Have a good night.
Have a good night, Councilor Whitner.